Did you set your goals in 2022, become frustrated, and eventually abandon your goals because you didn't have a clear action plan?
Or maybe you didn't abandon your goals, but you found yourself off track and unable to achieve your goals in your desired time frame. Today's topic: don't think about writing your goals until you do these three things.
Hmm. Welcome to the Influencers Journey Show. My name is Suzanne Hart.
And I'm Taria Hodge.
So, this is the big question. How does the average entrepreneur like us, who started with limited time, zero marketing budget, and little to no presence in the marketplace, get their authentic message out there and become a person of influence?
And also, what skills must you learn? And most importantly, who are you required to become to magnetically attract your divine client and build your loyal following?
Welcome back, Miss Taria.
Yes, I am glad to be back. Super excited to be here. But I have to tell you, I've had a wonderful first week home, and it's just been totally enjoyable. I'm well rested and ready to go.
I love it. So this is a fun topic.
Mhm.
What's your experience with goal setting and action plans?
Oh, yes. I'm going to tell you, Suzanne, I was that person that would set goals and set the same goals that everyone else was setting. So, as an entrepreneur, there's some key goals that everyone talks about. And so, one of the major ones is that you have to hit that infamous six figures. And there's a lot of other things. And so, what I found myself doing was kind of mirroring my goals to what I've heard others in my other colleagues, others in the marketplace say that goals should be. And I'm going to tell you, frustrated for year on end because it would seem like every year I wasn't hitting the goal. And I remember sitting and asking myself one time, how is it that I could set goals, the same goals each year, and not achieve the goals? And I think that that's one of the most frustrating places that anyone could be, especially if you're an entrepreneur, to set the same goals over and over and not hit those goals.
I so can relate. I remember when I first heard that someone who writes their goals is 42% more likely to have success. I was like, okay, let me start writing my goals. So I've been writing my goals for over 20 years. But I gotta tell you, in the first few years, I would write them and then I would feel really bad at the end of the year because I wouldn't achieve many of them. And I think the thing that I didn't understand was this whole concept of an action plan. I took
Mm-hmm.
action, but with no real plan.
Right.
And what would end up happening is I would be off course and not actually know I was, or doing the wrong things and not actually know I was, because I didn't have any checks and balances and markers. And I didn't actually lay out how I was going to achieve my goals. So,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm excited about today is our opportunity to really explain to everybody, how do you set your goals? Yes, we're going to set a bunch of goals. We're
Yep.
going to talk about setting a bunch of goals. How do you lay out an action plan while setting your goals?
Mhm.
And how do you really make it come together so you stay focused, locked in all
Right.
year round?
Yeah.
Exciting.
Love it.
All right, so let's go say hello to who's out there. Let's tell them what to do.
All right, great day, super achievers. If you are out there and you are watching, let us know where you are watching from. Drop your city, drop your state. Let us know where you're hailing from. If you are across borders or international, let us know what country you are watching from. And then as you do that, we always like to know exactly who our super achievers are. So while you're at it, just go ahead and drop us a line and let us know who you serve in your business and how you serve in your business. So who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and then also put how we can connect with you. Now, this is one of the things, if you are new to our community, this is one of the things that we absolutely love to do because we love the virtual networking that happens when we're on the Influencers Journey show. Susan and I, we could see the chats going, we could see people connecting and everything. We absolutely love it. And then we also love to see the networking that happens after the show, what goes on inside of our community during the week. So here's the thing, we won't know who you serve and how you serve in your business and how we can connect with you unless you are able to tell us. So just take a minute and then drop that inside of the comment section below the video and let us know. And then I'm also going to ask you, if you're a super achiever out there, like I said, we're talking about goal setting and how to set ourselves up for an amazing 2023. If you know of another super achiever that needs to be included in this conversation and hear this, go ahead, tag them, invite them into the conversation.
And if you're listening to the replay, because we know that's going to happen, please hashtag replay and then do all the things that Tria asked you to do. Where are you hailing from? What do you do while you're living? Who do you serve? And then jump in and comment away, because what we will definitely do, even in the replays, we'll get in there and look at the comments, we'll respond to them. And your comments matter because that's how we know we're giving value, but that's also how you create that beautiful engagement. So we are so excited you are here, and we're coming up to the end of the year. So exciting times. So
I think I have to get that on I think I have to get that on a t-shirt, Suzanne. Hashtags comments matter. So that goal for 2023.
I love it. So Tria, are you ready to get this party started?
I am ready to rock and roll and get the party started.
All right. Well, welcome to each and every one of you that's joining us today. If you are just jumping on, welcome back to the Influencers Journey show. Our topic today is, don't think about writing your goals until you do these three things. Three very, very clear things. So, Tria, where do you want to start? Let's start with, goal setting. Let's really jump into that, because
go ahead.
Because I know I'm going to say it and everybody's going to go, what? So why do we set 100 goals?
Yeah.
Why set 100 goals?
Yeah, so I'm going to just say this before we jump into this. I remember the first time that I had that conversation with you around goal setting, and you said, what you're going to do, you're going to go off and then you're going to write 100 goals. And I remember in the back of my head, what? 100 goals? Is she crazy? Like, I could barely, write the 10 or get to the 10 that I put down on my thing last year. And, and now you want me to go ahead and write 100 goals. Now, I want to say, though, I was definitely up for the challenge and I took it on writing the 100 goals. And it was one of the best things I've ever done that shifted not only my business, but shifted my life. And I was able to see the needle moving. Like I mentioned before, I was definitely that person who didn't really have a firm understanding of goal setting. And so I mirrored, goals for myself off of what other people were talking about. And truth be told, when I got to a certain point of the year and I looked up and I was nowhere near those goals, I kind of ditched them, abandoned them, and just got rid of them. But this exercise of writing 100 goals was a total game shifter. So I'm going to pass it back to you so you can let our super achievers know the reason why you want to set 100 goals. So we're talking about three things before you do your goals you need to do. So one of them is write 100 goals, but here's why first.
Okay, so this was such a game changer for me. And when I first read this, it was in the book Hocus Pocus, Power Focus. Okay, the book's called Power Focus. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and the brainchild behind it all, Mr. Les Hewitt. Canadian, just so y'all know. And when I read this book, there was this challenge of setting 100 goals. I was like, oh my gosh. But this was the reason why. How many of you just set goals in your business? around your health, and possibly around your money,
Mhm.
right? Isn't that what we
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
Well, that's not our whole life. And what they
very
wanted
true.
you to do, what I learned was you want to set goals in all these different areas because there's goals that make things happen and there's goals that fuel the things that you want to have happen. So let me put this down. So the first four areas we all set goals. These are called foundational goals in my world. And if you
Mhm.
think of a building, this is the foundation below the surface. No one may actually see these, but they make everything happen. So one is you want to set a health, wellness, and fitness goal. And I'm using goal loosely because I'm going to come back and talk about it. Then you want to set a goals in the area of your business. And business is how you make your money, just so you're clear. Then you want to set goals in the area of your finances. And this is what you do with your money once you make it. How do you leverage it? And then you want to set spiritual goals. And this is what keeps you grounded and what makes you feel supported and guided. So for some of us, it's a higher power, whatever that is for you. These are your spiritual goals. These are foundational. They live below the surface and they make things happen. Above the surface, if you think of every floor in your building, this is what we live for. And these are goals like recreation. These are goals like travel. These are goals that are things such as personal development. It might
Mhm.
be what books you're going to read. It is going to be all these different things. But what we're doing is we're setting goals in different areas. How are you going to educate yourself? Where are you going to contribute? Are you a titer? All those different things. So we're going to give you 10 areas that you want to set these goals. So think of it for a moment. I've asked you to set 100 goals, but I'm giving you 10 clear areas to begin to set those goals. And what we're doing is we're making sure that you're holistic throughout the year. Your freedom goals, as I like to call them, the ones above the surface, fuel your foundational goals. And so if you think about it, why do we make money? Why do we want to make money? Why do we have businesses? Because at the end of the day, there's things we want to do as a result of the
Right.
income that we want. We want to travel. We want to spend quality time with friends and family. We want to do all these crazy recreational things. If you're Suzanne, you want to go to the spa. You want to go dining. Some people are movie buffs. Some people you like toys and cars and all these things. These are the reasons that we set goals. Ultimately, this is the fuel for your business, your financial goals, and your health goals. Because if when that foundation is laid and that's happening, you get to do all these wonderful things. So that's the first thing we want you to think about. Anything you want to add there before I jump in?
Yes. So as you're talking, one of the things that I'm talking about, like we call it our goals, and I say this is like the action plan for life. That's exactly what it is. And so as I started to get a hold, of this process and have a true understanding of what it is, I'm going to tell you everything started to shift for me because now I understood exactly what it is I'm working towards. I had the opportunity to peek in on the live that you did, the show that you did last week with Yetta Decker. Such
Mm-hmm.
an amazing conversation around vision. And for those of you who are on here this week and you missed the episode last week, I'm going to encourage you to go back and check last week's episode because that's like the setup for what we're talking about today. And so what I've come to understand as Suzanne gave me the brilliant assignment of laying out 100 goals, the thing that I had to measure it up was against my vision. And so
Mm-hmm.
as I saw, the juicy life, and that's what I said, this juicy life that I'm creating for myself, that I have the opportunity to partake in it. What are the benchmarks? And that's what your goals are. What are your benchmarks? What are the things that you need to do that would allow you to get closer to the vision? And it gave me a deeper sense of meaning. So now I wasn't just putting things down on paper because someone said, hey, 42% of the people who write goals are successful. more successful than other people. So let me just go write some goals and then I'm going to be successful. It doesn't work that way. True, you have to write them down, but they have to make sense. You have to know like your why behind your doing what you're doing. And so like I said, that was the game changer for me. And it's just been a wonderful experience over the past few years since I've been actually doing it this way, to take this time of the year, go back and look at what I wrote at the beginning of the year and go check, check, check. Maybe not check, still work in progress, but check, check, check. It's just absolutely amazing.
So let's give them even more clarity, because I know there's people going, okay, you said 100 goals, you gave us this categories, but 100 goals, really?
Yeah.
So this is how we make it happen. And this is how you start building your action plan while writing your goals. I want you guys to just hear that. Building your action plan while writing your goals. And if someone can put that in the comments section, because that's where the game changer is. So we're going to talk about targets for a moment. At the top of every category, I want you to set a big, audacious target for the year. So in your financial area, you might say, I have a desire to save $20,000 this year. That's for some people, that's an audacious goal. And that's the target you want to hit at the end of the year. And you want to think of a target as something you're going to aim at, but it's not going to be guaranteed that you hit it, but that's what you're aiming at. And you always want to have something to aim. So at top of every category, you want to have something that you're going to aim at. All right. So you're going to have a target for your health, and it's got a big, bold statement. And when you write your targets, don't tell us what you don't want, because that's how people write their health goals. Tell us what you want. I see myself as a lean, active, size 4 with a 6-pack and a swagger. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, write it down and make it a vision that you can see. Do one for your health, do one for your finances, do one for your business, do one for spiritual, do one for recreation, write 10 bold statements. This is where the magic happens. Now that you have your 10 bold statements, this is how you want to end the year. This is how you want to feel as you end the year. This is what you want to see at the end of the year. Now, I want you to do is write 10 things you know you must accomplish in order to do this. These are your 10 goals. 10 goals that you know that you must accomplish in order to get there. So in business, it might be that you have a program that you want to start. You want to increase your marketing. You want to increase your client base by a certain number. So you're going to set all these goals, and they're all leading towards this one target. And that target is going to bring you 10 steps closer to that vision. So in every area, you're going to set 10 goals. Goals are actions that you have control over doing.
Mm-hmm.
Targets are what you're aiming at. And so you're going to go do these things. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to see in every step you have a pathway, 10 steps, that's going to move you towards that target you set, your 10 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And like I said, there's so much power behind of this. And it's once again, it's so brilliant because you use it to lay out your action plan. And I'm just going to speak for a second on the impact that this had on me. So when we talk about laying out your action plan, what are the things that you need to do? Once again, going from arbitrarily putting goals down on the paper to getting clear on what the goals are, to then identifying exactly what needs to be done. So what is it that I have to do on a regular and consistent basis? That's the thing. What are we doing on a regular and consistent basis that would allow me to achieve those goals? Now, when I got a hold of that, Suzanne, I'm going to tell you, things became so much easier for me. It's like I'm operating in purpose. I know every day when I get up, the things that I'm focused on, the things that I'm supposed to do, I know exactly what it is I'm working towards, and I'm excited about it. I started to feel like the stress and strain, because once again, I was that, entrepreneur suffering from burnout, frustration, felt like I had too many irons in the fire. And I'm doing all of these things, and what is it really for? What do I have to, show for it? And the thing about it is like I didn't have a clear plan. I didn't know precisely exactly what it is, that I'm working towards. So I was
Mhm.
just out there just taking action for just taking action sake. I think there's a word for that. I can't remember what it is right now, but crazy making. So without
Mhm.
to get really, really clear and precise and know that the things that I invest my time in, the things that I invest my resources in, all leads to a desired outcome. And it also allowed me to choose. So if something comes in front of my way and it doesn't lead me to where I want to go or to that goal, then it's something that I shouldn't be doing. So it definitely brought a sense of clarity for me.
So, what I want to do now, Tria, I
Mhm.
want to talk about how do you use your goals to lay out your action plan, because you've been talking about the action plan, and
Mhm.
let's really talk about how you lay it out. So now think that you have your 100 goals. You have 10 goals in each category, and you have these beautiful targets which represent what you're aiming at. So the question becomes, what's next? So I want you to think that what you want to do is you want to take those 100 goals in each of the categories, and you want to say, okay, what are two things in this area that I am going to take on in the first quarter? And then you're
Mhm.
going to think of two to three things that you're going to take on in the second quarter, two to three things you're going to take on in the third quarter, and two to three things you're going to take on in the fourth quarter. Well, what's going to happen is that you're going to lay out throughout the year how you're going to
Right.
really go forward with these goals. Now, this keeps you right on track because each quarter you have two things to focus on, not 10, but
Right.
two things. And these two things are moving you towards that target you set. And then you're going to start doing something really cool with it. So you're going to do this in every area. Then you're going to go into your freedom goals, and this is where it gets exciting for me. And you're going to look and you're going to say, what do I want to experience in the first quarter? And it could be that you want to go have an amazing dinner
Mhm.
um, at some restaurant you've never eaten before, and that's part of your recreation goal. So you're gonna put that out there. Maybe it is that in your personal development you have 10 books that you want to read for the year, and you're gonna choose three to read in the first quarter. So you're gonna go through each one, and you're gonna start laying out things that are both focused on your foundation and things that are going to make you kind of excited and have fun. Because what we want to do is we really want to continue to fuel our business, fuel our foundation by having the experience of living it. I truly believe that if we just put something out there and we never get to touch it, and what I mean by touch it is
Mhm.
whenever I go to the spa, I come back jazzed. I come back refreshed, and I come back like, ooh, I need that again. And now it's propelling me forward to go take those actions that I may want to avoid around my foundational goals. When I'm able to go on a vacation and spend
Mhm.
2 weeks at the beach, and I come back and I have that experience, what it's going to fuel is that one is I'm going to start saving again. So it's going to fuel my financial goals. But I also am going to say, in order to do this again, I need X amount of new money, and that new money needs to come from my business. So now I'm anchoring my desires, if you will, in each quarter to clear action and clear reward. And this is how it works. And now you're starting to lay out that action plan. And now you're beginning to lay out your year before you ever get started.
Yeah, so I heard you mention and use the word reward, and I want to go back to this because this was also a big game changer. So you mentioned things like having recreational goals, and one of the things I think now I see what I was doing is punishing myself. So I was that person who said, because I did not achieve this, I can't do this. And I lived in that space for so long. I can't take a vacation because I'm not where I need to be, in my business. So and literally, even without saying it, the feeling is like, well, do I deserve a vacation? Like, that's what's really running in the background.
Hmm.
And then when I got present to setting goals, the I'm going to say the right way, then I realized that these are things that I'm building into. So now I take a look at, when are the scheduled times in the year that I'm going to take this time off. So is it going to be, what is it going to look like on a quarterly basis? What is it going to look like on a weekly basis? How am I doing this? And it just gave me a different energy and a
Hmm.
different feel. And so things like the recreational goal took on a whole new meaning. It wasn't a punishment and a reward system for me anymore. And it gave me a different feeling. So now I'm excited. I know that, hey, this is one, these are also the things that I'm working towards because it's
Hmm.
important. And I just had to stick that in there, because so many times as entrepreneurs, that's what we do. We run ourselves into the ground, stress, overwhelm, burnout, and that is not the plan. No one steps in on this journey to be stressed out and burned out, overworked, frustrated, and not paid. Okay. So that's the whole entire thing, is like when you take a look at it and you set it up for success, then you're able to enjoy all of it.
I love it. And I know for myself, Taria, when I started doing this, like you, I had stopped dreaming.
Hmm.
And I'd stopped even like kind of believing that things were possible. I know I've told this story before, but I remember when my youngest had asked to go to visit a friend, and I remember it was in Atlanta. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, we can't do this because we don't have the money. Bad words, not good words. And I saw him walk out of the room with no reaction. And I thought, well, that's weird because he's not even disappointed. And what I realized is he had become so conditioned to shrinking his goals to fit our pocketbook that he was beginning to stop dreaming. And he was a little guy.
Mm,
That inspired me to put aside money to do this vacation. And as soon as I put that on the radar, it was amazing how things started to happen, and I started attracting the income. Now, really, it would only take a few $100s of additional money every month to make this vacation happen. I will never forget being able to pay for that vacation cash, all of us going, and my son being so excited to see his friend Sebastian, who had moved to Atlanta with his family. It was such a game changer and teacher for me because I came back so excited to dig into my business. And what it changed for me was, I was never going to say I don't have the money again. I was never going to say I don't have the time. I was going to ask myself,
yeah.
how am I going to get this done? How am I going to create this income? How?
Yeah.
And that began to fuel my goals. So I started putting those recreation goals like up around in my office,
Yep.
and just had them in front of me. I calculated numbers so I knew exactly how much it would cost. And I'd say, okay, this is how much extra or new money I need to make this happen. And boom, things began to happen. And every quarter, I would go to work on what was in the forefront of my mind so that I could experience it. Because this is a thing, experience create emotion,
Yes.
and
It should.
emotion creates passion,
Yes.
and passion is fuel. And what we want is, we don't want hard work fuel. We want passion
Right.
fuel that pulls us into action,
Right.
so that the hard work or the work becomes easy. It becomes fun. It becomes inspired action. That's really what we're talking about. So now we're going to give you the third thing you want to do. And this is, we're going to answer the question, how to schedule your day to ensure success. This is where the magic happens. So you've now got your 100 goals written, 10 categories, a pathway to each target. You now have your 90-day action plan kind of laid out briefly in each quarter for the year. It's filled with foundational goals, those things that must be done, right? Health, wealth, finance, spiritual, and then those freedom goals, those things that inspire you and just keep you in great action. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pull things into your day on a regular.
The juicy part.
The juicy part. So this is the mantra for this section. What gets scheduled gets done.
Yes.
I want you guys, someone to put that in the comments section. What gets scheduled gets done. That is the name of the game here. So this is how it works. Now you've got your first quarter, you've got your 90-day action plan. You've got 2 goals in all the different areas of your foundation. And then you've chosen some amazing, juicy freedom goals that you're going to focus on. How many books you're going to read, what kind of personal development you're going to do, what recreation you're going to have, where you might go visit, who you might go visit, who you're going to hang out and spend quality time if you got all this stuff. So this is what you're doing.
I've spent 5 weeks with you in Canada.
That's right. That's right. And that would never have happened if we didn't say schedule it.
Yes.
So this is a thing. Now you've got to get into action. So there's 2 ways to do it. One is, this is the principle of rituals and routines. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a daily ritual and routine, and you're going to take some of the goals that are just part of and make them your daily action plan. My daily action plan starts early in the morning. It starts at 5:30. And in the morning, I get up, I hydrate, I work out, I meditate, I journal, I read, I have breakfast. That's kind of my morning routine. It's consistent and persistent. But inside of that morning routine are a whole bunch of goals. I'm reading because I have books I want to read. I'm journaling because I have things I want to think through for my business. I'm journaling because I do my devotions and I write in my journal around that. So so I'm addressing a whole bunch of goals. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to close out my day, wins, gratitude, successes, whatever else. I'm going to put a routine at the end of the day, right? And then I'm going to schedule in my schedule on the weekends, I'm going to schedule quality time with some people and some fun things I want to do. And that's kind of how I lay out my week. Now, you notice I have the beginning and I have the end. This is where the magic happens. Then I'm going to look at my 2 goals in each section, and I'm going to say, what will I do today to make me one step closer to what I wrote in my 90-day action plan, achieving that actual goal that is on there. And then I'm going to schedule 3 things, 3 very clear things that I'm going to take on for the day. Now, this is what we call them. These are not, this is not a to-do list.
Your task list.
This is not your task list. This is an outcome-focused task. And what we mean by an outcome-focused task is it moves your business and it moves your life forward. I want you to get that. It moves your business and it moves your life forward. And so those are outcomes. So we have 3 big goals that we put, and they're all outcome based. They move our business and our life forward. And then we have smaller outcome goals, 3 more, that if you get to them, you get to them. And these are things like go to the bank, do a grocery run, whatever it is. And you can only do 3 and 3. The first thing you tackle are the 3 outcomes that are really key, the 3 big goals, and then you go to the 3 smaller ones. And I usually get 1 done, and I move the rest into the next day. Now, this is a thing. Whatever I get done, I get to check off and celebrate. And whatever I don't, I just move it to the next day. And if it's one that I'm moving, I'm adding two more to it, and I'm just doing that. Now, this is what tends to happen because it's three major things. So I start my week with three major things I want to get done. And then I work on them and I chunk them out and I move them through. And in each day, I do three tasks related to that major thing. Now, this is what happens. By the end of the week, I'm amazed how much I've accomplished. This is the trick to this. How many of you have your running to-do list?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you're looking at it feeling already overwhelmed before you start. And then when you end the day, you're just like, oh, I only checked off one thing. I only checked off two things. That doesn't feel good. So why put
So,
a big list? Go ahead.
yes. So I was just about to say, so one of the things, because I definitely, when I started looking at how I laid out my day and my action plan, I was very famous for doing this. So I don't know how many of our super achievers out there, did the same thing or doing the same thing. So I'm just going to help them out a little bit. So what I used to do was thinking all the things that I got to do. Have the goals, you got to do stuff. I'm trying to pack everything to do in one day. Like Monday is the day. And I found myself dreading Mondays. So, how many of you are getting up and you're like, it's Monday? And I'm going to tell you, as entrepreneurs, I know people talk a lot about creating your schedules. And the thing is, as entrepreneurs, we're not supposed to dread Mondays. But I know some of you are out there dreading Mondays. Why? Because you're trying to do everything on a Monday. And so, what I had to learn how to do, it's okay to, collectively do a brain dump of all the things that you need to do as it pertains to your goal. But realistically, taking a look at how much time it takes to get these things done,
Mm.
when you need to do them, okay, and then scheduling them, during like over the course of the week. And once I started to implement that, I learned or I started to notice that the feeling of the stress and overwhelm goes away. And so that's my cue because I'm not perfect at it. So there are
Mm-hmm.
times when I find myself, oh my gosh, then I always have to go back and say, well, realistically speaking, what are the three things? What are the three outcomes that I want to get done today? As I look at everything else, what can I get done on Tuesday and so forth? And it's just taking the minute to do that. And I find for myself, it works perfect for me to do that on a
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, to look at my week ahead from the Sunday, line everything up, and then this is the action plan of how I'm going to take on the week. And as we go through the week, like you said, if there are things on your outcome list that you didn't achieve today, it's okay to move it to the next day and then get it done, take care of it. And then always have your three things, your three outcomes that you are going to accomplish for the day. So, absolute game changer for me, just being able to operate in that process. And another thing I noticed is the the daily consistent things, like having a morning routine. The things that I do to start my day actually energizes me to
Mm-hmm.
go through the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like when
Yeah.
I take care of me first, and I say that all the time, when I fill my cup first, then I'm able to go out and serve. But I've noticed when I don't take the time to do those things in the morning, when I don't read, I don't exercise, I don't meditate, it's almost it's a rub. It's like
Mm-hmm.
sandpaper. And that's my cue to go back and say, you know what? You're off. You are falling out of your routine and get back into your routine. And once I'm in that routine, then things just flow smoothly.
So share with everyone what it feels like. 'Cause I know what people. I know there's probably people who are thinking three goals all week, and then you break those, and then you break down those three goals in. They're three big goals,
Hmm.
and then you break them down and you work on them throughout the day, throughout the week, day by day.
Right.
Now, I want everybody to do the math right now.
Hmm.
Because 3 goals times 50 weeks, let's just do round math, is 150 things
Yeah.
done, right? How many goals are on your list? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some things will take longer, but think about it.
Yeah.
And so you're working 3 goals. And so what does it feel like, Sharia, when you end that week and there's 3 things that you're able to check off?
Oh, it's the power of the check. That's all I have to say. I have to call it the power of the check. So it's so amazing when you go back, and I'm gonna say, don't do this all in your head. This is a visual exercise, and it's a reason why it should be a visual exercise, because it triggers the brain. Write it down. And then at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the week, do that reconciliation. And what it got me present to, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'm going to speak for myself. What it got me present to was the things that I actually did.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I was living in the place of the things that did not get done.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. And so when you look at the things that didn't get done, what do? You beat yourself up. So just imagine you have 3 goals that you set for yourself each day, Monday through Friday. At the end of the week, that's 15. If you live in the place of the things you didn't get done, so that's 5 things you didn't get done. It could be 3 things you didn't get done. You are beating yourself up for the 3 things that you didn't get done, and you neglect the 12 or the 10 things that you actually accomplish that would move you towards your bigger goal, that would move you
Yeah.
towards your target. And so that was the biggest eye opener for me, is just having that total shift in energy, and to actually celebrate the things that I actually got accomplished, and not to make myself out to be a bad person or a failure, because there were 3 things that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get done. Okay, so I didn't get that done this week. Don't make it mean more than it is. I was famous for that. Suzanne will tell you, I would sit, I'd have a pity party, I would cry, I would call her tears almost every meeting. Just move it to the next week and get it done. And
And how
so,
did and how did it feel when you actually were able to celebrate and get it done?
like, a weight has been lifted, a weight was lifted off of me, and I have the energy, the excitement. Like, I actually want to continue and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was just like, God, I'm failing. And
Mm-hmm.
I carry that. I'm failing. No, you're not. You just didn't get these things done. It's
And
okay. There's
and
still a
I
chance to accomplish them.
absolutely. And I think what I want to highlight for everybody is every big goal that we achieve, every target that you hit is built up of these small steps. So every day, what we're doing is we're giving you 3 small steps, 3 small steps, 3 small steps. Now, remember when we talked about the rituals and routines, the end of the day was success and gratitude. Success, gratitude, and planning for the next day. There's a reason for that. Because if you and I don't celebrate our success, we will, 1, lose track of what's real. And 2 is we will go into the day not actually paying attention. So this is what happens when you do your wins and gratitudes at the end of the day. 1 is you get to celebrate what you did.
Yeah.
2 is you get to be grateful for what you learned. Notice what we're doing. There's nothing that says you get to beat yourself up
Yeah.
in this in this action plan. And then what you're going to do is you're going to plan for your next day.
Yeah.
And so you're going to reconcile, as Taria said, celebrate, be
Yeah.
grateful for the lesson, and then you're going to take all that information and you're going to plan your next day. And if you had one goal that didn't get accomplished, you're going to put that on, and then you're going to add 2 more for it. You're going to add those little small things that need to be done in the next section, and you're good to go. And so what you're doing is you're really moving forward. And every time you sit down to choose, you're asking yourself, does this
Right.
task move me towards what I just said we were going to accomplish in the 90-day action plan. It is a total game changer. I know when I got this, oh my goodness, life changed. So on average, now this is the thing I want to leave, and I want to ask you your number. On average, I accomplished 75 of the 100 things that are on my list. 75. Now this is the interesting thing. I focus on not 100. I focus on probably 50, and somehow 25 other stuff just happens.
Yeah. You know, what's really interesting about that? So we have goals in categories that we've broken down. So we have our foundational goals, we have our freedom goals, and then we have our recreational goals. And some of the goals, like we're talking about having a daily action plan and establishing a routine. So some of the things you do in your daily action plan like every single day. So they become innate and you really don't give them too much thought because you know you're doing them, but your mind isn't focused, on them. They're built into your routine, so you automatically do them. Now, what surprised me is when I actually did that reconciliation at the end of the year. I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I accomplished this. And true story, one of the most interesting ones, like I wrote it down at the beginning of 2022, and I said, I'm gonna change my eating habits. I'm not gonna call it a diet, but I'm gonna change the way that I eat, and I'm gonna eat cleaner. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually wrote on there that 2 days out of the week, I was going to have plant based meals, totally plant based meals. And I remember as I wrote it in the back of my mind, it was like so hard because who could give up chicken, right? And now I'm to the point where I'm almost fully plant based. Like meat
Mhm.
enters the picture once a week. Like I can't, as yet give up a good chicken roti, so that's holding me back right there. Okay. But it was so amazing to see that things that I set on my list, and because I worked on them daily in my routine, those goals I knocked them off. So 100 goals, like you said, 80, 85% of the goals done without even thinking about it because I built in habits around it. So
Mm.
that was the amazing thing for me, and I've been doing it, like I said, for probably this is my fourth year going into it, like actually practicing writing goals this way. And I remember the first year that I did the reconciliation, I was blown away, but I'm still being continued to blow away because it doesn't seem hard. Like when you hear it, it's like, oh my god, 100 goals, that's a lot. But once you actually implement the action plan, you knock those things out just like that.
Absolutely. And so Tria, what changes have you seen like in your life or just in your total in your attitude as you're using this process?
Mm. Like I said, it just eases the stress and the overwhelm
Mm.
for me because once again, I was that person who always felt like they had to go, 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 go. Sleep was like non-existent. There's always things to do, and didn't know that really and truly that there's a system. And once you implement the system, you could actually get more things done by doing less. So how are you setting yourself up for success? How are you planning
Hmm.
things out? And then how are you being intentional? And I'm going to go back to what you said earlier because it's so true. Once you put things on your schedule, you have to honor it.
Hmm.
Honor it. And that's the biggest thing. Don't get distracted. put it on your schedule. What gets scheduled gets done. So if you put it on your schedule, honor it, be intentional. And that was, like I said, the biggest shift for me, because
Mhm.
I now notice the things that I choose to do on a daily basis are the things that make a difference. And it's always having that check and that balance. Like, am I
Mhm.
checking it? Is this helping me move the needle? And if the answer is no, if it's not helping me get towards my goal where I want to be, then the answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have a question for you, because this is
Okay.
such an amazing process. And I've never heard anyone break down goals like this until we started to have our conversations and talk about this, and then put the plan into action and work on it on a consistent basis. So, how long did it take you to really embody this process? And the reason why I'm asking is because I'm being totally transparent with our super achievers out there. There are times when I find myself falling off and I'll have to get
Yeah.
back on track. So, how long did it take you to really embody this process?
Well, the 100 goals, I got it. I got that as soon as I read the book. And I thought, like you, it's going to take me forever. Once I sat down with those categories, it took me like 90 minutes. I
Mm.
was blown away because I had more than 100 goals when I was done. It was just it was really quite fun. The part that really didn't pop at the very beginning was the action plan and the daily schedule. And so I think it's been a journey of do, learn, course correct. And so I know one day it just dawned on me that if I did less, right, I'd
Mhm.
probably feel a lot better. So I started with 10, 10 things I wanted to do every day. Then it went down to 5. I was still struggling. Then it went down to 3, and 3 was like, "Ooh, this feels good." So
Yeah.
that happened. It was the same thing in each quarter. I put 10 things. Then I went, "Oh, let's just do 2 in each category." So the biggest learn for me was less.
Yeah.
Focus on less each quarter and you'll accomplish more at the end of the year. I know it's counterintuitive, but it does work. The other thing that it took me a while to get was this daily action plan. And I had tried my journal, I had tried all these different things. But when I was able to put my action plan on one sheet
Mhm.
and just write it out every day and make it very concise and then move things to the next day, that was the game changer. And I think it was also habit stacking, which is how your rituals and
Right.
routines were doing. I stacked habits in the morning, I stacked habits in the evening, and then I had 3 clear things to accomplish during the day. That put everything on autopilot for me.
Yeah.
And when things began to be on autopilot, this was the biggest notice. I wasn't emotional about it,
Mhm.
right? Because imagine I know exactly what I'm going to do in the morning. I know exactly where my workout clothes are. I know exactly what routine I'm going to do. There's no thinking. Because the moment I start thinking, I get emotional. I don't know about you. It's like, oh, I wonder what workout I'm going to do today. Oh, yeah, maybe I'm not going to do. I don't have one, so let me stay in bed. It's that
Mhm.
sort of thing. However, when things are just laid out in a clear ritual and routine, I just get up and do them. And so it was that daily action plan that put things on blast. I think the last thing I'll say that kind of put it over the top was that wins, gratitudes, and success
Mm.
and setting up your day the night before really got me to reconciliate, as you said, what I had done for the day. And it kept me honest. Because there's days where you think you've done a lot, then you got to go reconcile at the end of the day and you're like,
You're
oh,
right. Oh,
I was off track. Then I was like, okay, let me get
yeah.
focused. It also had me in charge of my schedule because I don't know about you, but before this, other people were running my
In
schedule
charge. Yep.
because I didn't know how to say no. However, as soon as I got intentional and laser focused, no became my favorite friend. My phone stays on vibrate during certain times. I don't answer it during other times. I have clear hours where I speak to people and clear hours where I don't.
Yeah.
And so I really began to set myself up to win, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All of it definitely makes sense. It's a game changer. And you mentioned the habit stacking. And I think that that was the biggest thing for me. And so now when I take a look at goals, I'm always thinking, what habit can I create around this? What habits or what are the things that I need to do and create a habit around it that will pull me towards this goal? And I think
Mhm.
understanding that concept was the biggest game changer for me as well.
Yeah, yeah. Just and you know, a simple thing is a habit of reading for 30 minutes every day.
Mhm.
While 30 minutes every day translates to 40 books a year,
Yep.
just so you all know. Either, you know, audio or reading. That's a lot.
Hmm.
It was just that little daily habit, journaling each day.
Right.
It's just a little habit, but wow, what an impact on it. So it's really those small little things. So
All right. So I have a question for you. So we've been talking about goals, and we've just disclosed the three things you need to do before you sit down and write your goals. So I hope all of our super achievers, you guys got that. Make sure that you are putting your big takeaways inside of the comments so we can see exactly what's popping up for you and what you're taking away. So, Suzanne, the question is how? How do you go ahead and set your 100 goals?
so this is the interesting thing, and we've done a whole series on this. So you're wanting to go back and start from the beginning of the series, but I'm going to recap the series in a how to. So the first thing that, you know, as you look into the year, you want to begin to ask yourself the question that I asked Fazia, who is the guest: who are you required to become?
Mhm.
Who am I required to become to achieve the goals in 2023? Now, this is what I know. The person who set the goal or set those big targets is not the person who's going to achieve the goals. There will be skills you have to learn. There'll be habits you'll have to improve. You might have to give yourself an attitude adjustment and really learn to manage your energy. That's your emotional mastery. You might have to build relationships with key people who have already achieved what you want. So that's the question. Now, the second thing you want to ask you want to do is you want to start, and this is the conversation I had with Yetta last week, is you look at your vision. So you've written your vision. Now you want to look at it and you want to say, well, where am I ending this year? Because where you end this year is a springboard for where you start next year. And so celebrate your successes. What are you grateful for? What did you learn? All those things. And you want to do an inventory of this year, because that inventory is going to teach you what you need to learn next year. It's going to give you answers to who you're required to become. And it's going to make sure that you're starting in a true place, not a fantasy place, because you didn't really look at where you're ending the year. That's the next thing. Third thing you want to do is now you want to sit down and you want to write out those 100 goals. Remember, you're going to have 10 different categories: four foundational, six freedom, and then you're going to do 10 goals, and those 10 goals in each section lead you to your major target, that big old statement that you wrote at the top of every one of those goals. And now you've set yourself up for success. Last thing you want to do is you want to take that and go, okay, what's my 90-day action plan? And a 90-day action plan takes you quarter by quarter. So that's the really cool thing. And once you have your 90-day action plan, remember, two goals in each section, and then you're going to lay it out, and then you're going to go daily schedule. And daily schedule will always, you keep your 90-day action plan and that big target that you set in front of you. And every day you say, what am I doing to bring me one step closer? And is what I'm doing aligning with where I say I want to end the year? That is the how. And so if you missed any of the lives, I would recommend you go back and you take a look at it. But that's the how. What we're going to do for you is we're going to give you a special gift. But you got to be a part of the Super Achievers network, right? So you have to be part of the Super Achievers network to be able to get this. And what we're going to give you a goal setting outline. It's going to lay out a lot of the stuff that we've talked about. So you can just go check, check, check. You can have a beautiful guide and you can set yourself up for success. This is the last thing I want to say about this how to, is that you do not want 2023 to meet you
Right.
without having done this work, because you want to hit the ground running. You want to hit the ground with intention. You want to be fueled by some passion and be so on purpose that you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this year. You're going to be vibrating for 2023.
I love it. And so once again, you'll be able to receive the Power Up Your Goals worksheet if you are a member of our Storytelling for Super Achievers Network. So just as we're finished with the live, head on over to the file section of the group and make sure that you download your goal setting worksheet. And like Suzanne said, don't let the doors of 2023 open and you have not sat down to write your goals. Amazing.
So, Taria, what is our quote for this live? What are we leaving people with? Like anchor, a hook?
Oh my God. It's one of my favorite sayings. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, by none other Benjamin Franklin. And this is so true. So if you aren't taking the time to sit down and write out your plan and write out your goals for the year, for 2023, then like Suzanne said at the top of the hour, you're going to be in that percentage of people who are stuck wondering why the needle did not move for them. Is because you didn't take the time to write out, set your goals first, and then write out your action plan that would allow you to achieve your goals.
I love it. I love it. So, our goal as we did this series was to set you guys up for success. We do this every year. I am on my way to sit on a beach, kick back, and start doing casting a vision, reviewing my vision that I've written, beginning to write my goals, 100 goals, and develop my action plan. I love this time of year. I get to do an inventory and celebrate my successes, and then I get to jump into 2023 with passion and purpose. That is what we desire for you. So put your questions in the comment section. If there's anything that's not clear, let us know so we can help set you up for success. All right. So until we meet again, please know you're brilliant. Know you are oh so very special. And the world is waiting for your unique gifts. Blessings, and we will see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.